Here we go. Hello, folks. Have you heard the news? Instagram is now hiding likes in the United States. But don't panic. It doesn't mean your engagement is doomed. In fact, there's even a bigger opportunity for you to create different content, build a strong tribe, and grow your business. And you want to know how? Well, we're going to be talking all about Instagram hiding their likes in today's show. Hello, folks. I'm Jeff Sieh of Mainly Pinterest Tips, and I'm here with Rebekah Radice and Kristen Dahlin of Tailwind. Welcome to Marketing Unleashed. And today's show is brought to you by the Tailwind Android app, available on Google Play. What, you ask? The Android app? Yes, I know you guys have been wanting this, all you Android users, and it is available now on Google Play. So rush out right now, after the show, of course, and download the new Android app from Tailwind. So we are so happy to have you guys all on. We would love for you to ask your questions, and we will try to bring those up during the show today. So ask them down below, and we will pull in as many as we can. And also, we're always doing the nuggets of information as we go along today. If you see or hear something that you just, well, wow, put hashtag Tailwind Tip, and you could be entered to win one of these awesome selfie lights. So, oh my gosh, Tailwind hiding likes. Everyone's in a panic. So, what is the actual news, ladies? What's going on here?
So Instagram is hiding likes. And so what that means is that as you scroll through your feed, if you're a part of this experiment, I guess it is still considered a test, you'll see that you can't look at the actual number of like counts on any of the posts that you scroll by. Instead, it'll just say some person's name or a username and then others. And so Instagram rolled out this test earlier this summer, I think, to a few different countries, including Australia, Italy, Japan, Canada, and a few others, just to kind of see how this test would go over and what the impact would be. And they announced, I believe, on Friday, the week before last, that it would be rolling out to the US, and it did just a few days into last week. And so that's the news. Your likes may change, or you may not be a part of this test. We kind of did a poll in our office of who had downloaded the more recent update and been affected. And I think about 6 of the people on our marketing team had, and maybe 2 or 3 hadn't quite yet. And so it's pretty random on who's getting selected, but it is live in the US.
So do any of you ladies have it? Have you noticed them hiding on your accounts?
Yeah, mine are hidden, definitely. Okay. I don't know about Rebekah.
No, I still have mine.
Yeah, I have mine as well. I checked right before the show. So that's very interesting. So Rebekah, why do you think that Instagram is hiding likes? What are they thinking here? I mean, it seems like it'd be like, something that's against. I mean, Instagram has had likes from the very beginning. So why were they changing this now?
Well, they've talked a lot about mental health, and this is a push towards that, where they're really trying to take the pressure and the stress around just garnering up those likes, and those likes being a part of how we feel about ourselves. So really trying to take the pressure off of, and it is towards younger demographics, but let's face it, I think it affects all of us. It has affected all of us at some point, where we're actively looking at those likes and internalizing those likes as, do they like my content? Do they like me? So this is definitely a push towards that. To help us stop worrying or stressing out or really internalizing, as I said, that feeling or that emotion around those likes. So they've been talking about this for quite some time. As Kristen mentioned, they've been rolling out these tests now with the US and UK, getting in on it. But again, as we said, this is a test. It does not mean it's going to stick around. We'll see how everybody reacts, but the reaction so far has been very mixed, I would say. You see a lot of people saying, hey, we've had a lot thrown at us from Instagram or say Facebook over the years, and we'll adjust. It's all in evolution, and we'll find our new normal within this. Whereas there are a lot of people that are pretty upset about it, that they have figured out how to make a good living off of Instagram. And a lot of that is based off of these metrics, such as likes. So yeah, there's definitely some panic out there, some worry, which is why we wanted to talk about it today. What does it mean to you? What does it actually mean to you as, say, a business owner? And what does it actually matter in the mind of, say, a consumer or your followers or a potential buyer?
Those are great points. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, Rebekah, is what. So they're hiding their likes, and they're doing it because of the the health, supposedly health benefits for this. So, and you guys wrote a great article over on Tailwind about hiding likes. Here's everything you want to know. One of the things that they asked, you guys kind of polled some different places that had it for a while, and it seemed like the consensus was that it's not really a big deal. So can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, we we did a poll of those countries that have had this file, and just wanted to get a feel of how did they adjust? How did it impact them when it first came around? And overwhelmingly, the response was, you know what? It really hasn't been that big of a deal. The feeling was that, hey, at first we were a little worried. We wondered how it was going to impact us. But overall, the panic was, I think, something that might have got a little blown out of proportion. So it was good. It was good to hear from people that have been living with this now for several months, that it has become their new normal, and that it really didn't have any impact. The one thing that I think we also heard resoundingly was that it did force you to really be more thoughtful in how you were interacting. So we heard people saying, I'm really still spending a lot of time commenting and interacting, because comments now are the way to really see how interactive are people. Are they building a community? Are they really going deep with those relationships? And I know we've talked about this on previous lives, where what we were moving towards with Instagram was really that situation where you do want to invest in your community. And so we did hear that back, that people were spending more time than ever commenting, interacting, making sure that their followers were being heard, but also that they were spending time interacting with other people. So overall, very positive sentiment, which I think was surprising to all of us.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that it was like they didn't really care. They're like, get over it, US.
Yeah. Yeah, so, right.
Yeah. And if I could call out just two things, just because I'm the one who wrote this article, and put all of this together. But so, right, like the first rumor that really hit was that like influencers were doomed, right? Bloggers and influencers who money this way wouldn't have likes, and then they would just be, unfortunately, it wouldn't work out well for them without it. But we actually, one of the respondents was Laura from Italy, and that was her concern, right? She says, in the beginning, I was skeptical about likes being hidden because I thought it would be more difficult to collaborate with brands. And then after a few weeks, she realized it wasn't. It was the same kind of reach out and collaboration. And she just felt like she had more freedom, less pressure, and less competition, and she could focus on creating quality content. So it was definitely, at least for her, and not all of these gals who we spoke to are influencers. A lot of them are professionals, though. It really didn't have that kind of crazy impact on how they were able to work with other brands or collaborate or, monetize their Instagram, which I thought was really cool.
Very cool. So I'm going to pull up some comments here because, of course, I knew we'd have quite a few comments, so I wanted to go ahead and bring some of those up. And this is, Valera says, I can still see likes on my account. If this goes through across the board, does it chain analytics on business accounts? So I think they're wanting to know if they can still see likes, if they're still on your own account. So can you explain that a little bit, Rebekah?
Yeah, and they definitely can. And Kristen, I'm going to default to Kristen because she did write the article and did a ton of research into how this is going to impact. And I think this is the cool part about this is that, yeah, we can still see everything on our own accounts. So there is still going to be that ability to prove to brands, at least in my opinion, as you're talking about, Kristen, brands looking to those metrics, we can still screenshot those. We can still share that. We can still show what's going on with our account, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So mine are hidden, for example. And so if somebody else clicks on like who liked it, the number won't show up for them. It will just be blank. But if I click on it, if I click on where my likes are at, it'll show me the number at the top of how many likes I have. And then the analytics inside of it are also the same. So everything, you can still see all of that information on your side. It's just public facing. They won't know exactly how many people liked your post.
Very cool. So one of the questions that when you were talking kind of came up was, so let's say I'm part of this test. I'm a business as part of my test. So likes are gone, and maybe I've been using that as one of my analytics to see how well a post is performing. What should I do now? So I'm part of this study. My likes are hidden. I'm noticing that. What should I be looking at now to, kind of determine success? Anyone?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were talking about previously with the engagement metrics of looking at those comments. It's something, there's a couple of pieces to this. Some of the talk has been that a concerning aspect of this could be that we go back to a scenario where people are looking at number of followers and people could start purchasing followers before, whereas, a good way to be able to tell if people were purchasing followers before is we could see, oh, well, they've got 1 million followers and they're getting 25 likes on every single one of their posts. More than likely, those are fake followers. And so there's a concern that we could go back to that scenario where people are just rapidly or massively buying followers and we're not able to judge, at a glance. But again, you're going to be able to prove that as, say, somebody that is working with brands. And you are going to be able to prove what kind of engagement you're getting down within those comments. So it's going to be a situation where you're really going to want to train and encourage your audience to get very interactive, that the metrics are changing, things are shifting, and you should have been doing this anyway, truth be told. If you're wanting to build a community, well, how do you build a community? You're not doing it by likes. Likes are something that you can pretty much do in your sleep, right? You're just scrolling, liking. Commenting takes that time, that thought for you to actually slow down and put some thought into what you're going to say. So you want that action. You want to encourage that action anyway. So I think it's just, it's again, that shift over to relationship marketing and making sure that you are taking an active interest in your audience and your followers, and you're getting down into those comments. And we've talked about this before, where if you're a business, if you're a creator, maybe you've got a product and you're actively using Instagram to try to move people from Instagram over to that product or service. Well, you can't just post and pray or post and spray and run off. Right. You got to come back. You got to come back and have those conversations. So, I don't think it's that far off from what we've been preaching for a while, but it is a very different mentality for those people that just wanted to rack up likes.
Yeah. So when you say about engagement, I read a really interesting article on the BBC. And one of the things they said was, okay, so let's say likes go away and for everybody, if they're just going to make it widespread on Instagram. There was some concern because then, it's going to be engagement. Okay, how much engagement am I getting? How many comments am I having? How much am I talking back and forth? And there was a worry that there could almost be you're trying to be controversial just to get comments, or you're kind of baiting your audience. And who can be who can get to the threshold before it becomes abusive? Because they have those filters now where they can, get the ban those abusive comments out of there. But is it going to be people trying to be like really controversial and kind of ruin comments? Because we're marketers, we try to ruin pretty much everything that we get our hands on. So
come on now.
So do you think that's going to be an issue of people trying to game the systems by doing that? And Kristen, I'd love know your thoughts on this.
I feel like there's the potential for people to take that approach. I don't think that will be like a great strategy to pursue long term, right? Because you're going to alienate. You may get a lot of comments, but you're going to alienate your following, probably, depending on how controversial your statement is, I suppose. But people are going to get tired of that. It's the same with Facebook. Whenever all these comment wars start in the comments, and you may be interested in it for like a minute or two or a little bit, but it gets really tiring, and people, I feel like, will move on to the next thing that's probably a little bit more positive. And I think the cost of like getting those comments versus what that could do to your brand, I don't think it's worth it. So I would hope that people would see that and probably not embrace that strategy.
I think those are great points. So I want to bring up some more comments really quick while we're talking about this. And this is from Lynn, and she brings up an interesting thing that I did not think of. She goes, no, it's really about pushing video like Pinterest is also doing. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that might be a way? Are they trying to use more video? I'm not sure. I've never thought of that angle before.
So I don't actually know, and I can't say whether like this is directly correlated with that. What I do know is that Instagram is very interested in promoting a content mix. And so like if you look at their blog for Instagram business, they talk about a content mix that will help you engage with your followers and get more success on Instagram. That does include video, and it also includes carousel posts and things like that. And so I think there is a push to use video, and video is great for engagement for marketers. Don't get me wrong. Video keeps people on the app longer, and it's just a powerful tool in general. So I'm not sure if hiding likes is necessarily directly correlated to video, but I do know that that is also a focus of the platform, and that they really, really, really want you to use video as well. Generally, I've actually found with video, though, which is interesting, is that whenever you do a video post, it'll show you how many views are on it, but people tend to like video posts a little bit less because it shows how many people watched it versus how many people liked it. And so usually, like whenever we put a video post on our feed, it usually draws a little bit less in terms of people actually liking it, but there are plenty of people watching it. So that's something interesting to note too.
Yeah, I've noticed the same thing. But like the people who do just like their whole channel on Instagram is about video, like I'm thinking like Zach King and the Jugglin' Josh, who they post all video. And so I guess it's what you've trained your audience to watch or interact with, I think is key on that. There's a great question or comment here from Therese. She says, I'm from Canada. My likes have been hidden for a while now, and I hate it for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's harder to do hashtag research, and two, it's harder time determining fake accounts from real ones. And I would love to know, Therese, if you're using the hashtag finder for your that Tailwind has for some of your hashtag research, because that is a great tool, and I'd love to know your thoughts on that. But also, what do you guys think? Do you? It's interesting. She said that it's harder to do this research and determining the fake accounts. So, do you think fake accounts is going to be a problem because the hiding the likes? Rebekah, what do you think?
Again, you can still see your own likes. So I guess she's probably talking about the accounts that she's actually engaging with. So trying to figure out, and I'd go back to what we were talking about with comments. Take a look at how many followers do they have? How many comments are they actually getting? I think this is going to be a great way too to start to get a feel for what type of a description is really engaging people. Are you pulling people into the conversation? Are you asking questions? Are you sharing sharing things that are interesting to your actual audience. And you can do the same in kind of auditing these accounts as you're going through. But I think it's just, it may take a little bit more time, but it could actually be pretty quick if you just start to gauge based off of those few things I just mentioned, and just get a feel for how many followers do they have? Are they actively asking for people to interact with them? Are they asking compelling questions? Are they sharing interesting content, or are they just kind of throwing content out there with no rhyme or no reason? So just do little due diligence on your part, and I would keep your eye on the prize, which is keep your eye on your own account. So really worry more about going deep with your audience instead of spreading yourself out so thin that you're trying to interact and engage with so many different accounts, so many different people. I think we have found that creating that smaller group of people, so 100 people that you engage with that are highly engaged with you, as opposed to 500 or 1,000 people that really don't care about what you have to offer or sell. I think this is a great opportunity for that deep versus wide mentality, and not having to feel as if you need to be everywhere and all over the platform.
I think that's a great point. That's an awesome point. So one of the things that I would like to, there's a great question here from Julia, and I hadn't seen anything like this before, so I wanted to pull this up. And she goes, I have a business account and I see other influencers' likes, but my husband has a regular account and cannot see my likes or other influencers' likes. What's that about? Kristen, have you seen anything like that? Do you know what she's talking about?
Okay, so sorry, can you pull it up?
So she goes, I can see other influencers' likes, but my husband has a regular account, and she has a business account, and she can see other influencers' likes, but my husband has a regular one and cannot see my likes or other influencers' likes. So I guess they're tapping on it and it's not showing up on the business account.
Yeah, so I would actually say, and I can't speak to this for sure, but I do know that whenever we did the office poll, right, of who can and who cannot see likes, I have a creator account at the moment, but I know that also the business account, which we have for Tailwind, is you can still see likes. And Rebekah, I'm not sure what kind of account you have, or Jeff, what kind you have. But the test may not include as many business accounts, for example, and it may be focusing on personal and creator accounts. Creator accounts to me make sense based on kind of the demographic of who might be affected by likes being hidden, or who, what that test makes sense with. But I have noticed that most of the people that I have talked to who haven't had that rolled out yet do have business accounts. So I'm not sure if it's by account type, but I feel like it might be leaning that way.
That's our informal poll. I have a business account. You have a creator account. I can see them. You can't.
Right. Right. And I have a business account too, and I can still see him as well. So there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Sandra asked this question, or makes a point. I think it will really lower the pressure on the influencers, but I think that it will for sure lower engagement on certain accounts. It's human behavior to like an image that has lots of likes. And I think that's a great point too. When you see all those likes on something like from a celebrity, you kind of want to like it too, to be part of the gang. And so it will be interesting to see how this plays out. One of the things, and we'll make sure to drop it down below, there's the great article that Kristen wrote. It really does a great job of breaking down the different types of influencers. Like there's macro and micro, and even one I hadn't heard of before, which is, really, really small. Nano, that was it. And I thought it was really interesting. And then she shows how with those changes, the percentage, and it's not that big a deal. It really isn't. But, none of us like to lose anything or lose likes. But make sure you go check out that article that she wrote, because it's really good. And here's another great question from Macy that I want to pull up. And she goes, as a business, I look to a lot of other companies related or not to piggyback things that are working for them. Without likes on posts, how would you suggest finding those successful posts? So would you go into the Explore tab on Instagram if you're doing research to see what's working for a business? What are your thoughts on that, Kristen?
Yeah, I think actually, doing the explore tab and kind of seeing, based on the hashtags that you're searching for, based on what that business is, the explore tab can tell you a lot based on what makes it to a top post. And there is also a differentiator, which to me kind of defeats the purpose a little bit, but no judgment. But whenever likes are hidden, it says liked by so-and-so and other, unless it's been liked by like a lot of people. And then it's liked by so-and-so and like thousands of others. So you can really see, still, or you can get a hint as to like what really has a ton of likes. That's not completely hidden. The wording on it is just vague. But again, I would visit the explore tab, like Jeff mentioned, and kind of see what's hitting those top posts. And I would also look to comments too. Usually a post that does really well, the likes, liking is easy, but if a post has a ton of comments and like a ton of quality conversation kind of happening, like, oh, I love this post, or I love this thing about this, or asking questions, that's really a gauge that it's attracting interest, that it's something that they like. And so if you kind of look at the comments and kind of the quality of conversation happening in those comments, that can also give you a clue as to what's working kind of in your industry, in your niche, and what you might want to try to emulate or use yourself.
Very cool.
Kristen, a quick question for you. Have you tried to go to Instagram on desktop? I heard that you can still see likes on desktop, not on the app. So there is that too.
Yes, actually, one of the people, and I totally forgot about that till just now because I didn't test it out. But one of the gals that we talked to for the article said that, like, spoiler alert, you can still see it on desktop. So if you're really that curious, you might want to try that out, because apparently you can still see likes there. Or maybe start a business account and then you can still see them.
Yeah. So Andrea asked this question. She goes, will video views also be hidden? And I haven't heard anything about that. So you guys heard anything about video views? So they probably do the same thing. They would probably roll it out as a test first and then go, but we have not seen or heard anything about that. So with their really stressing, like Kristen and Rebekah were saying earlier, video, I doubt if they're going to do that. It just doesn't feel like that's something around the corner for them, but who knows? They didn't ask me. So Cameron has this great point. He goes, people tend to like videos less on Instagram, but they actually comment more on videos versus images. I haven't. Is that true? Have you seen that in your feed? Because I didn't know that. And so that might be something about the Instagram, engagement, that people may start putting more videos in.
Yeah, I found that to be true. Generally, whenever, we do videos or I do videos, people who watch them tend to drop more comments, definitely, which is kind of interesting because you would think that, liking it is easier. But I think overall, video tends to be a type of content that maybe requires a little bit more effort to put up than like a feed post. And so it's really great at capturing and driving engagement whenever you get video right. That's why it can be such a powerful tool. And it's not necessarily a bad thing that Instagram is pushing video or encouraging people to include video in their content mix, because it can really capture the attention of your audience and really spark conversation. So for me, that's been true. I've kind of seen that in the feed whenever I've posted videos.
Yeah, I've never tested it, so now I will. So that's very interesting. Thanks for bringing that up. This is since I don't have this and I haven't tested it yet. Stephanie says this. She says it should be noted, you can still, if people are getting thousands of like, it says and thousands of others like instead of just others like.
Right.
I didn't know there was a difference in like the text that it says. That's really interesting.
I just
that's what Kristen was just saying.
I didn't. I was reading that and I'm just like,
no judgment.
Listen, I'm running the show. I'm pressing a lot of buttons here. I'm listening in one ear and looking at comments. So this is what Ian says. He says it has a lot to do with social proof. So with those text things that you just said that I totally ignored, do you think that's really going to make a difference in thousands of others versus others like? Are people really going to be looking for those keywords on their posts?
It's hard to say for me. I think, I think there is kind of a social proof aspect where whenever you see a post that has like thousands of likes or hundreds of likes or whatever, you look at that content, and even if it doesn't necessarily resonate with you, that's also like an indicator that like this is good content just because so many people like it. And so then you're more likely to like it yourself. There's just kind of a trigger there where it's like, you almost think like, oh, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe there's something wrong with me if I don't like this because so many other people do, and you're more likely to smash that like button. And I think that's dampened whenever you can't see how many people like a post. But whenever you can see that thousands of people have liked a post, then I think it's much the same effect, which is why I said like sort of defeats the purpose, but it may not be as strong a pool. I'm not really sure.
Gotcha. Christy, Charisse says this. She says, I agree with engaging, but not everyone does. I'm starting to see more accounts responding to comments now with hashtags. I like to see what accounts I can compete with to be near the top of the hashtag list. There's no point in only using hashtags where the top accounts there have 10,000 plus likes. I won't come close to being seen. I think that's a pretty good strategy. And one of the things I know that the hashtag finder allows you with those color coding to see where those hashtags rank. And I use that all the time. So I don't, just go to the ones where I won't even show up at all, but really try to target the ones that I have the best chance of. Is any other, like, Rebekah, I know you use the hashtag finder a lot too. Is there any other like strategies that you use? Is there a certain amount of really wide ones you want to have in a post versus your, the kind of the narrow niche hashtags?
Yeah, well, and I think we've talked about this before in just really understanding what your business is all about, what you want to be known for, and what those hashtags or keywords are that you want to rank for. And that was a great point about getting found. Is that a hashtag that you can actually compete within? And do you have a chance to make it to the top of that hashtag hub? Because after all, that's where people are going to start to find you, right? So yeah, you really want to get as niche-y as possible without going into a situation where it's a very small pool of people that are actually you're going to be able to capture their attention. So there is a balance. You've got 30 different hashtags that you can use. I would go with maybe 10 of those being those broader, bigger hashtags, but the majority of them being more your niche hashtags that are very specific to your topic, to your location, very specific to your audience, because otherwise, what good are you doing yourself if you're not even giving yourself the chance or the opportunity to get that post out there in front of those people? So don't waste. I look at every single hashtag as an opportunity, and you don't want to throw one of those away on a big, broad hashtag. And if we're talking about, say marketing would be a big, broad hashtag. As opposed to getting a little bit more niche-y like Los Angeles marketing. So just thinking about how you can specifically get in front of the exact right audience. And I think people tend to shy away from that, but you don't want to, because those are the paying customers. Those are the people that are actually looking for you and that are interested and could potentially hit that follow button, but also start to interact with your content.
So here's another question, because we can't, this test, and let's say they do roll this out everywhere. Do you think this will drive more, because more people are using stories than ever before? Do you think this will even drive more people going and using their content for stories, because it's not so much, seeing how many likes? I can be a little more real, a little more raw. Do you think that will happen more on Instagram as like the entire platform?
I would personally say yes, but I think there's also a drive to use stories kind of in marketing in general. I mean, just the stats around how quickly stories have exploded and what you can do with them in terms of engagement. I know we've done a couple of shows on this before. But just the tools that are built into stories, right? There are so many stickers that you can use to just get answers, polls, and like get questions from your audience, or, you know, have them do quizzes, or just all kinds of stuff that you can just get their interaction with. And, you know, that's interaction and engagement is currency on Instagram. I mean, that can only help you. And so I would say, especially maybe too, for if maybe the validation aspect of it is really important to someone, and there's nothing wrong with that. Stories may be the place where they can get it. Comments, you know, can be a little bit more tough. There's some strategy and there's some experimenting that goes into it with starting a conversation with your followers. And we've talked about that before too. People love to just keep scrolling, like something, keep scrolling. And so it's a little bit more taxing to think of a comment and put it down. And so, you know, to avoid all that, they may go to stories. It may be part of their strategy, definitely.
So you just mentioned Instagram strategy. What are some tools that we can use? So like we said before, they're rolling this out. They're not even rolling it out. It's a test. This hasn't been confirmed that they're going to take away likes for everybody yet. They're gathering data right now. So let's say this does happen, or I'm having it right now and I don't want to wait. I want to start kind of get on top of the curve with this. What are some strategies that I need to start using to make sure that I am, doing the right content that, you know, does drive engagement? What are some tools that we can use? Rebekah?
Do you want to? Yeah.
Do you mean tools, or are we just talking more strategy?
Like, I was thinking about our tool. Actually, Smart Bio is what I was going to talk about, how we can use this to drive some of our engagement. See, that was a softball right there, man. Don't just pow right there.
Man, I guess so. And me being sick, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a little slow over here.
So if you don't know why don't you start with, like, what if they don't know what Smart Bio is? Tell them what it is, because it's amazing. I've talked about it before, that I hounded you guys until I got access to it when it was still in beta. So tell everybody what it is, because I think it's awesome.
Yeah. So Smart Bio is a link in bio tool. So we all know we have that single link within our bio that back before Smart Bio, we had to swap out that link every single time you created a new piece of content. You'd have to say you wrote a blog post, you published it, you'd have to go in, you'd have to swap out that link. Well, with Smart Bio, you can actually create your own customized landing page that's automatically going to pull in all of your Instagram posts. And within those posts, you can assign a link to each of those posts. So it's a call to action where you can drive people to that specific link. So if you also think about when you were having to say, you know, click the link in my bio, and then you were having to swap that link out. Well, if people checked out that post after you'd swapped out that link, what happened? They could never find that content. So super unfortunate for those of us that are using Instagram to market a business. So now with Smart Bio, again, you've got all of your Instagram content right there on one landing page. So as people click that link within your bio, they can see every single one of your Instagram posts, and then they can click on those, and that's going to take them over to wherever you're directing people. So you can add in that unique link into each of those posts. So you're never going to lose a lead, you're never going to lose an opportunity, and you're basically going to drive a never-ending stream of traffic to your most important content. So you can think about some of the other link in bio tools that are out there that just give you the chance to do static links. So all you have are those static links where you can say, hey, check out my latest blog post, and you have to, again, thus it actually does all of the heavy lifting for you. So we're going to pull in all of that Instagram content, let you assign those links, and you can automatically do it and our scheduler all at the same time. So instead of back in the day, and I know, Kristen, you've joked about this, where you had to remember or set a reminder to tell yourself, oh, hey, we've got a new blog post. I've got to go swap out that link. Now you can go ahead and you can schedule out your post for Instagram within Tailwind. And at the same exact time, you can add the link for that post for your smart bio. So it all happens automatically at the same exact time, and you never have to set those reminders, which makes all of us super, super happy that are so sick of notifications to go, add those hashtags in first comment, which you can do that right within Tailwind as well. And Jeff, you talked about the hashtag finder. So if hashtags is a frustration for you and you stress about having to go find those, well, all of that is right within Tailwind's Instagram scheduler. So you can search out what are the best hashtags for this particular topic. And we tell you kind of what we were talking about earlier, which we alluded to, which are those top performing and which are niche specific, which are going to be best for you that you can actually rank for. So think about it as all in one fell swoop. It is one tool that rules them all for you, that you can just do everything all at once and get that link in your bio without you even thinking about it, which I just love.
That's amazing. And you had a Lord of the Rings reference in that as well. So that's amazing.
That's right.
For me.
That's right.
The one tool to rule them all. We'll have to get shirts with that on it. But and one of the things that I love about Smart Bio, and Kristen, I think you wrote this in an article, I believe. But let's say you don't have the swipe up, for the link in stories. One of the tips that you gave was to draw an arrow to your thing and say link in bio in your story, where they can draw a picture to your icon and they can tap on that. Boom, it goes to your bio, and there's all the links that to all your content or whatever. For example, if I took a picture of us together on the show and said, hey, make sure you watch the show, and I have that link, I could just put an arrow to my bio. They could go to my profile, see that link, and they could click on it and go and watch the show. And so I just think it's amazing. It's a great tool.
Yeah. And one thing I would also add to, I think that makes Smart Bio really awesome, but just in general, I think, as we're shifting our perspective on what is a marker of success on Instagram, if our likes are going away and we don't have that validation of everybody seeing all our likes, and, we're focusing our attention on something else, I think, link in bio tools can really show you these analytics, but for Smart Bio, it's free and it's always present, but you can see how many people have actually clicked on each link in your profile, and you can see, how many people have actually visited your Smart Bio page and how many people have clicked through those links, and then what your average click-through rate is. And that average click-through rate is kind of the moneymaker here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's sending people to your website to see your content. And that's what success is for most bloggers and most, retail locations who are selling something, is that, would you take likes or would you take sales? And you can really kind of, gauge that as a metric of your success, is your click-through rate from, Instagram, and how well you're doing at actually driving traffic from your Instagram presence to your website to make sales or to, have people read your blogs. And so I think whenever you're thinking about reframing how to measure your success, if your likes are going away, focusing on click-through rate to your website is really important.
Yeah, that's great. And now I want to bring up some comments from some of our people in the audience. And this is from Rachel says, I absolutely love Smart Bio, and it's what will keep me paying for Instagram with Tailwind. So that's awesome to hear. Thanks, Rachel, for that. Dinah says, I have seen more traffic to my website since I added it to my profile. And this is a great question. And Kristen, I'll throw this to you. Andrea says, so do you get less visits to your main website if you use Smart Bio as far as your stats? And I would say no.
No.
It would actually be the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I don't know if maybe you're referring to just putting www.imsoandso.com, which is your website, I would, presume in that example, in your website, then the only difference is, right, is you can't really track what page you can't track that traffic. With Smart Bio, you can, and you can still put a link to your homepage to, at the top of your Smart Bio if you just want to send people to the homepage. But it's also a tool where you can send them to multiple pages, and you remove that step of them having to search for different pages on your website, whether it's a blog post or whether it's a product. And sometimes whenever you just send them to your homepage, I think I've talked about this on the last show, they might get lost and they might give up before they find the blog post or the product that they're looking for. So really, it just kind of amplifies the traffic to your website. It definitely doesn't detract from it, in my opinion.
Gotcha. John says this. He goes, nice. Smart Bio can help accounts that don't have 10,000 followers get to your links back in, basically. Yeah. So that's how I use it. And Andrew asks, yes, another great question. Thanks for all the great questions, Andrew, today. Would you guys say Smart Bio is more successful than posting the articles on our permanent highlights? So I'm thinking maybe yeah. So I would say so. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to do both.
Yeah, exactly. That was my thought too. You would do both.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And if you have the ability to add that link into your stories, I would save it into a highlight. Definitely send traffic that way. And also do it, with Smart Bio. I think Smart Bio is a really complementary tool to be able to accomplish all of these things. It's definitely not one or the other. You want to drive as much traffic as you can. And it's just another tool that can really help you do that and really help you target it.
Right. And Christy has kind of the same kind of question. She goes, I currently use Facebook Business Manager to make my products buyable links. Do you feel Smart Bio is better? I would say do both. You can still have your buyable links in there, but also use Smart Bio, because some people may go to your profile for a content that didn't even have to do with, maybe a product that you have the product tagging in, because when they go to your profile, they have to work to get it. It's like it's pre-qualified if they're there. And if they see it in on your Smart Bio, how nice it looks, and you have it organized with, specific buttons and calls to action, I think it's just an amazing tool. And there were some questions earlier. You can't, and just want to say it again, is it does tell you how many visits you get to your profile. It does have the analytics of what people are clicking on, how, what is working. And so you can tweak the language if you need to on Smart Bio after a certain amount of time to see, okay, let me try wording things a little bit different to see if I get a little more click-through rates.
Yeah. Well, and I think the most important point that you made in there is this is just another tool in your tool belt. This doesn't add or replace these other pieces that we're actually using, but it does amplify, like Kristen said, all of your content. So instead of just having that one link that you're driving people to, now you can add all of your content. So maybe there are very key pieces that you want to highlight. You want to think about what are those most important things, those pieces of content that people need to know, they need to see, they need to learn about you. Maybe it's a YouTube video. Maybe it's a blog post. Maybe it's your latest course. So it could be any number of types of content that you want to drive people over to. And that's what the beauty in this is. It really gives you the flexibility to share all of that in one location, to Jeff's point, without people having to run around and find that content. Because you can bet if they've got to search for it, they're probably going to end up somewhere else, unfortunately. And so what this does is it's just a really beautiful way, because it's completely branded to your brand as well. So a beautiful way for you to consolidate all of your top performing content, that most important content that you want people to see immediately as they're wanting to learn more about you, or as they're remembering throughout your day. Because I don't know about you, but there will be a situation where I'm out and about and something will catch my attention, but I don't have a chance to click through and look at it right then. But goodness knows at some point throughout my day, it'll come back to me. And so this is just a great way for me to not have to go search, oh, what was that post? Where was it again? But I can just go directly to their bio, click on that smart bio, and it'll take me right over to all of their content, all of your content, so that it is not only accessible very, very easily, but it becomes easily consumable too. So they can just go from one to the other. So kind of fall into that rabbit hole of content that I know we all like to believe we don't do, but it definitely happens, especially on Instagram.
Right. And I wanted to say too, did we mention that it's free? Yeah. Smart Bio is free. So if you aren't, there's no reason for you not to try it, because I think you'll try it and you'll learn to love it, because it is very, very powerful. And I do want to, and Rebekah just touched on this a little bit, but I want to make sure we clarify this, is Tanel, I hope I pronounced that right. She goes, if you're not selling products directly, do you think it would be useful to place blog posts in your Smart Bio? Currently, we don't post our blog articles on Instagram. And so I'm in the same boat as you. It's service-based, so I have buttons that have links right to my services page on my website. But I also, when I create a blog article, I do make an Instagram square type image post for that article. I post that, and it also goes to Smart Bio, so they can see that image that relates directly to that blog post as well. And I have seen it make a difference in driving traffic to my blog post. So go ahead and give it a try, because I think it'll work for you. And so, yes, you can use Smart Bio to put your blog posts on very, very easily. So any thoughts about what I just said? Ladies, did I do it right?
No, it's absolutely available and to any industry. So whether you have an Etsy shop and you're driving people over to your jewelry store, or you're a local store that you want people to be able to see what, maybe you're a local restaurant, so you want people to be able to see all of the amazing food that you're cooking up, and then be able to link over to different aspects of your website. So maybe over to the menu or to the hours or frequently asked questions. There's just a variety, a million different ways you can use Smart Bio, and you're really only limited by your creativity, because with every single one, as I mentioned, you can add a different link. You can also add a different call to action. So Jeff was talking about being service-based. If you do have a variety of different services, so I'm thinking of maybe a business coach that has one-on-one coaching, but also has group coaching, also has a Facebook group that you want to drive people over to, also has a newsletter that you want people to subscribe to, also has a free download like an ebook that you want people to pop over to. You can customize all of that to drive traffic to every single one of those, and then use a different call to action. So, it could be check out my latest blog post, to my latest YouTube video, to all of those different pieces of content I talked about. You can put a different call to action on all of those. So not only can you start to test what's actually driving traffic for you, but you can see what people are truly responding to. So it can start to inform you as well. Let's say you are creating different courses and you want to know, is this a topic that's even interesting to your audience? Well, you could test that out with a blog post, or maybe a small free offer that you're just wanting to see, is this something people would actually pay for? So you can get super creative in how you use Smart Bio, no matter the industry. And really, like I said, the sky is the limit. And if you're feeling stuck and you feel like, gosh, I don't know how I'd use it, just tag us in the comments. Just raise your hand and let us know. Kristen and I would be more than happy to come back and give you some examples. We've got so many different examples of the thousands and thousands of people that are using Smart Bio at this point that I am willing to bet, and you can try to stump us, but I am willing to bet we can find an answer and a solution for you.
Yes, they can. Believe me. If they can help me, they can help you. And so for you guys, once again, it's totally free, and you can find it at bit.ly/smartbio. That's bit.ly/smartbio. all lowercase, all smashed together. So do you guys have any last thoughts about, once again, this has kind of been a speculatory show about, they're testing it, but not to everybody. We don't know if it's going to be 100% rolled out to everyone, but it's really kind of turned into a show about the importance of engagement. I've been seeing people talk about that amongst themselves in the comments. But do you guys have any last thoughts on some, maybe the top hack that you can think of for engagement on Instagram? Kristen, I'll let you go first to stump you.
I don't know if it would be necessarily a hack, but I would also say so comments, right? Comments is king. We're always trying for comments, but also try to create posts that people can share or send to their friends or save to their inspiration boards. Like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people on Instagram use it this way, but whenever I see a post I like that I might want to revisit later, or that I think is funny, I might want to show to somebody, or is like decor I want to put in my house, I save it. And that's getting saves on Instagram content it's great engagement. I mean, that's great engagement for the algorithm, and a post that is saved very often is signaling to Instagram that it's good content. And so experiment kind of look at those analytics inside the platform and see what posts are getting saves and shares, and maybe try adding a few more of those into the mix to really, really start engaging with your followers that way, because I think saves and shares tend to be a little bit overlooked. We often talk about comments all the time, but those are also very, very powerful tools to focus on and experiment with.
Awesome. Okay, Rebekah, what's your hack, your helpful engagement hack on Instagram?
I don't know that it's a hack either, but we talked a little bit about the difference between personal, creator, and business accounts. And I would highly, highly encourage anybody that's using Instagram for business purposes, get that Instagram account swapped over to a business account if you don't currently have one. You get access to so many additional tools like insights and ads, but more than that, with Tailwind, you can actually then automate. So you can start to plan out and schedule your content. So I was talking about using the scheduler within Tailwind, and what we will do is we'll take a look at when your audience is online, and we'll give you your best times to post. And so instead of using a tool that simply gives you a notification of, oh, hey, by the way, you need to go, post at this time, we'll actually tell you the best times to post. You can drop your content in, and then we'll post that on your behalf. And at the same exact time as I was talking about, you can drop those hashtags down into your first comment. You can add that link to your smart bio. So as you post, as we automatically help you post to Instagram, at the same time, we'll send that link and that post over to your Smart Bio landing page. So it's kind of a double whammy for you, where you get that post out onto Instagram, and at the same time, we update that post over to your Smart Bio landing page. So that is that never-ending stream of traffic I was talking about. So as you're creating consistency, as you're scheduling out your content, as you're posting on a daily, a weekly, a monthly basis, you're also updating all of your content to Smart Bio, so that as people are coming back, as they're coming back and engaging with your content, as they're clicking on that link in your bio, they're able to see all of your fresh new content along with those fresh new links. So I know we've talked about this in the past, but there is no evidence that third parties and actually scheduling out your content hurts your engagement. So let's just dispel that right out of the gate. Whoops, I got so excited. I just...
See, don't get us started about third-party content.
My microphone across the room.
That's right. Well,
there's just so many benefits to getting ahead and actually scheduling your content. And that myth of it's hurting you is exactly that. It's just a myth.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, ladies. Those are great tips. And thank you all for all your comments today. I was so distracted. I'm sorry, because they were so good, and I was trying to make sure we got all the questions up because you guys had some great ones. And thank you for all of you who said that you have tried Smart Bio and love it, and all of you today who said you're going to go right now and sign up for it. Once again, it's totally free. You can go at bit.ly/smartbio, bit.ly/smartbio. That's our show today. It has been brought to you by the Tailwind Android app. If you are on Android and you have been just dying to get your hands on this Tailwind app, it is available now. You can find it on Google Play. And with that, we thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.